Hey guys, welcome back to part 2. Well, I'm getting ready to take and pull this thing out of the shed right quick. I want to take the air gun. And up here we got all these hydraulic lines coming into this block. Got some dirty stuff. I'm going to blow all that off and just kind of blow down through here. It should be pretty clean because I usually always take the garden hose and blast everything all off of it. But I'll just make sure everything else is all off. So I'm kind of curious to hear what this thing sounds like now with no muffler on it. I'm going to jump in and try it up. Okay, let's try it here. It'll probably be a whole lot noisier than what it normally is with the big muffler. There you go. Definitely. When I go ahead and start get the batteries disconnected, I'll pop this ground cable off here. There we go. Set that back there out of the way. I've already got this one here loosened up. Let's see if I can get that cable off that thing. There we go. Okay, now I gotta undo the other side. On this side, I'm only going to undo just the positive because both batteries share a common ground. And so I'll pop the positive cable off over here and that'll have it. Yeah, grab a pair of channel locks. There we go. Okay, that's got out of the way. In fact, something to consider on a John Deere tractor. This one here is actually already set up for it. But when we bought that other 4840 in 2020, it had two 6-volt batteries, Titan series, in order to get 12 volt. And that thing was worthless trying to start. And so when we got it, I converted it over to two 12s paired up, and it's a whole lot better. All you gotta do is just get the newer style positive cables, and if I remember correctly, I'm trying to remember, I think you got to get a new positive cable to come from the far side over there, and a new ground cable. And but yeah, if you're trying to start it with two 6 volts, get rid of that idea and go with two 12s. It'll start a whole lot better. I'm going to go ahead and get started on this air tube going from the air filter to the turbo. Okay, let's got that one loosened up. Get that one back there loosened up. What I'm hoping to do is, that loosened up easy. Okay, I got to unplug these little wires. That's on that air filter restriction deal. Okay, and that, that one doesn't act like it plugs in. It's like it's formed on there or something. I guess not. I see a little bolt right back in there. I'm going to have to take it loose at. But anyway, I got these 3 lines here. I'm going to have to take these off. In fact, I'll probably just take and snap a picture of that. That way I can see which ones go where and keep them straight. You got this little block piece. This has to do with the steering. I'm almost positive because you got these 3 lines going in. I think it has to do with the steering because you got that orbital motor in the cab, and then it goes down through all the lines and everything down to your steering motor, which sits right beneath the fuel tank. And what I'm hoping is take these 3 lines off. Of course, this block, that is actually mounted on this air filter piece here on the turbo. But these lines here going that way, I'm hoping to actually leave these there. Just leave them sit there, not mess with them. Because I'll be working all down below that, and they should be out of my way. This bigger line, I am going to have to take that off, which don't look too bad. Just hose clamp there, and I got a hose clamp right up there. No big deal on that. Okay, looks like maybe a 9/16. We'll take that wire loose. Trying to get that bolt loosened up down there that this wire's attached to. What I'll go ahead and get this turbo tube off, and just trying to see here. Okay, there we go. A little grounding wire. I'll kind of put that bolt back in there for the time being. Let's see. I'll get this tube here off, and then I'm going to disconnect. Okay, I think that'll hold in there for now. Looks like it, I think. Yeah, there we go. Then I'll take this tube here off, separate here on the air filter canister, and right here on the exhaust manifold. And that's also part of the bracket that holds this block. And so get that out of there, and just keep working on getting the air filter down. Okay, now this here should be unplugged. Thankfully, that's pretty flexible. Get that off the turbo. There we are. Turbo spins good. That's what you want. Okay, look good inside, nice and clean. Well, minus my dirty fingers being poked in there. All right. Well, hey, that's got one tube off. So I'll take this here off, get all this big stuff out of the way, and they'll begin to open up and make room. And now I'm working on this tube here. There we go. And get these top two broke loose. The bottom ones are actually up against the frame deal down there. However, I have been looking at something, and I'm going to try it. I hope it works. But, come on. I showed you about that block right there. Well, after I got looking a little bit closer, this block is held onto the frame bracket by just these two bolts, I think. Yeah, there's not another bolt in there. So yeah, just these two bolts mount this block to that frame. Well, once I got looking at it here, I thought, well, I'm going to try, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually try and leave that block in place take these 2 bolts out and just let the block sit there and hold by the lines. Because once I get this air filter all out of the way and get this elbow here on the exhaust coming off the turbo, thankfully whoever put this together used stainless steel bolts, and looks like those are stainless also. Perfect. It'll all be open down here, and I'm hoping that'll be up high enough out of the way I can just leave that, just save a whole lot of hassle. And so we'll see what we can do with that. Like I say, I hope it'll work. Wait and see, who knows. Now I just gotta get these back bolts here broke loose. Oop. Makes it bad when you're working when it's colder out and you gotta wear gloves. And if you're wondering if this is a heated shop, no, it's not. I mean, one nice thing, at least you don't have the air and that kind of stuff blasting all over you. It's sealed up pretty tight. Okay, that's got the 2 top ones. And we'll get the 2 bottom ones broke loose. Got one right back there. Okay. Go ahead and get the, well, I gotta watch taking that last bolt completely out until I get these 2 bolts here out. I don't think those go clear through. Oh, you know what? They do go clear through. I didn't realize that. Yeah, they come out over here on this side. All right, let's see. Man, I grab a wrench and throw on this end to hold it. Didn't realize that. I thought it had threaded holes that it shot straight into. Yeah, no big deal. I get looking at these bolts on this turbo, that's definitely been replaced. It's sure ain't original. And it does seem like years ago, my neighbor that had this tractor, wow. Man, somebody had their Wheaties that day. Huh. But it does seem like I actually remember helping him do some field work, and he was actually running this tractor, and he had stopped and jumped out to tell me something, and because I used to help him off and on if he needed extra help or something like that, running a tractor, that kind of thing. But I do remember him stopping to I don't know if he's telling me about a tile inlet or something, and this tractor was sitting at the end of the field idling, and in a little bit it just started pouring out a bunch of blue smoke. And I remember him saying he probably lost the turbo in the thing. Well, that's been a long time ago, because we've owned the tractor since 2007. And so, but well, I thought anyway. Huh. Man, I grabbed a little more leverage. But I'm guessing that's when all this got replaced, especially with it having stainless bolts. So I'm gonna grab me a bigger ratchet. Okay, let's see if this here will work. I just grab my impact. Huh! I thought anyway. Let's see about the other one. Wow, them things are on there. Well, that's kind of odd. I don't hardly have enough room to get onto it quite like that. I'll have to come up with something else. I shortened up my extension. There we go. I've had that happen before. You get too many extensions together, each joint will absorb some of the hammering power of your impact. There we go. And that's what was happening. It wasn't letting us sit there and knock on them things. So, okay, that's got those two loosened. I'm going to jump back over on the other side. Go ahead and take this last bolt out here. I just took the two out on that block. And there we go. That should let that tube that the standpipe for the air intake hooks onto come loose. I've already got that clamp loosened up. Let's see what happens. Getting closer. Now with that, it's got a lip right there. It's not letting that side come off. Oh, I may need to loosen that a little bit more. Okay, now let's see what happens. Oop, that popped off. And, my hose clamp, oh, there it is. I was going to say, I know it jumped somewhere, it just fell down around that. Go ahead and put that back on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and these 4 bolts, them 2, I'll just put everything back into the holes. That way nothing gets lost. And that way all the hardware's together. All right, that's got another tube taken off. And so now I can start getting these bolts here out. And that is the main mount for the air filter canister. This little bracket here simply ties down these lines. Okay, there's a wiring harness. And it looks like that's gonna, yeah, that'll come out. Okay. Now we'll jump over on the other side. I'll get this here disconnected. And I see I've got a little support stand right there coming up off the head that holds kind of like the back corner of that. And then this line right here, I am going to have to take that off because that is right smack dab in the way, I think, unless I can disconnect it back here on the back. And I don't know if it'll raise up any or not because it's tied down on a radiator clamp over there. We'll see. Looking at this line right here, and okay, I see what it is. It's an oil cooler line for hydraulic. And so, like I say, it clamps down right here. I've already taken that clamp loose. I'll go ahead and pop that hose clamp right there. And now we'll just have to keep playing with it to get it snaked up and out of there. I grab my heat gun, that way I can warm that rubber elbow up right there a little bit. Try and get it broke loose from the metal line. I've already gotten the hose clamp off. With it being original, and I don't know if it's ever been off. Probably not. But it's well stuck on there. Okay, I got that warmed up. I want to see if I can run this little 90 degree awl around there and begin to break that loose. Who knows, it may end up messing that thing up. I may have to put a new elbow on. When it's been on there that long, it can actually end up. Oh, there we go. I may have to replace that. Yeah, it's kind of tore up. Got a little bit of oil wanting to drip out. Okay, there we go. Well, as far, it goofed up right here on this outside, but it sticks up pretty high in there, so wait and see. Might really like that right there. I may end up getting a new little hose. Okay, well, thankfully it didn't dump a bunch of oil everywhere. I'm going to undo this clamp, and that may actually be able to take and pivot up out of my way to where it can just stick up here in the air. I can get that out of there, and we'll see what happens. Okay, I got that line held up in the air. I think that'll work just perfect right there. This here, from everything I can see, should be the last bolt holding the air filter assembly on. And then once I get that unbolted, I can take it out and go down that way. Okay, let's see what we can do here, as long as we're not hooked on anything. Come on, let's go. At least it's not too heavy. There we are. Perfect. Hey, now that gets it out there where you can change the air filter nice and easy if you want to. Otherwise, it can be kind of a pain to take the air filter in and out. Usually what I got to do is take and rotate the fan, and if I can get to move, kind of push the fan around to where the filter comes out kind of in between the blades, comes out, and that way you got to turn it to bring it down from underneath the hood. Okay. Well, you know what? Taking that great big canister out of there definitely opened it up now. And like I say, once you get looking at that, leaving that block just hang by those lines, I think I should have enough room. Of course, I'll take this ether inject can here off. The fuel filter assembly, we'll wait and see. And of course, take all the injector lines off, take the alternator off. And then I'll probably go around on the other side and start working on the inner air cooler. I've got to take the top half of that off to get to access the bolts that are holding the exhaust and intake manifold on. So let's see here. This here is the heater hose. Here's your turbo line. I can go ahead and take that off and probably just let that lay back here out of the way. Got the ether can. I'll take that little line off right there. I'll probably go ahead and take this assembly piece here off. That's the frame mount for the air filter. Go ahead and pop this alternator here off. In fact, actually, this alternator is actually new. Come on. Because back in, well, yeah, it would have been back in the fall. on our other 4840. Okay, and now I need a smaller wrench. But yeah, like I was saying, on our other 4840, that must be a stupid metric. It was actually when we were combining beans. Sure enough, the guy we had driving the grain cart hollered at me on the radio and said, "Hey, all the power went out and the voltmeters bottomed out." And so we'll come to find out the alternator on that tractor had gone bad. It just died. And so to get up and running, we came down here to the shed. I took the alternator that was on this tractor and took it right back to the field, put it back onto the other 48. We kept on running. And then when the new alternator came in, I put the new one on this tractor. Okay, that's got that right there. This wiring harness, gonna take and we'll lay it up over here out of the way. There we are. Like I say, with everything being up here and the way I'm planning on working it, I should be able to work down below and be all right, and all that stuff just sits up there out of my way. In fact, here a couple years ago, what I did, oh, I know why. It was after I had set my big light bar setup that I made on the combine. On this tractor, well, actually on both of our 4840s, the 4955 and the Alice Chalmers 8070, you'll notice that I took that additional red wire off. And what that does is this goes over and hooks onto the starter lug right with the battery cables. That's a 10 gauge wire, and the wire on the tractor, it's a little bit bigger. It might be an 8 or a 6 gauge. But I did that though. That way, if you need to, we can add additional load on, and it's got additional capacity, handling capacity to be able to handle the additional electrical load. And like I say, I did that on all 4 of our main tractors. Go ahead and get this bottom bolt here pulled out, and that alternator should be ready to come off. Oh, I thought anyway. There we go. Okay. I was going to say that thing better sound good. It's not run much. We'll just lay that right there. All these parts and pieces, especially the bigger stuff, I'm going to lay right back in there on top of those rock boxes. That way it just keeps everything together, but yet it's out of the way. Because I don't like having stuff just strewn everywhere and thrown here and there. All that does is go away loose stuff. So, okay, that's got that on. And this wire here, I will just take and fish back through here. Like I say, this is a 10 gauge wire. And if I remember right, 10 gauge wire is good for 30 amp. 8 gauge, I think, is good for 40. And I'm trying to remember, I think 6 gauge is good for right around 50 or 55 on 6 gauge. And like I say, I did this here several years ago when I built that big lighting setup on the combine. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that right there. I'm hoping to be able to take all these injector lines off as one piece, because it's got that tie right there that ties all 6 of them together. I'm hoping to simply undo them here, undo them right there, lift them out, and keep them all together. It'll be a whole lot easier. Okay, I want to take this here is the vent tube for the valve cover. In fact, this is where it's been blowing out all the blow-by for years now. But I gotta take this off this little hose barb, and I'm gonna have to take this off. This here's the heater hose, and so I'm gonna have to grab some jugs and drain out the antifreeze, because I've got to get this heater hose out of my way as well, because they're coming right down across here. It's blocking me for getting the injector lines off. Okay, that's softening up there on that rubber line. Try and get this little clamp piece there opened up. That should work. Okay. I've got it broke loose. Now, oh, there we go, perfect. Okay, I thought, well, maybe not. Might be on the other tractor. I thought that little tube piece just simply stuck down through the hole and I could pull it out of there, but I don't want to pop out too easy. Well, I get that heater hose out of the way. That'll give me more room. Okay, well, now time to drop the antifreeze. Okay, guys, you know what? I'm going to call this an end to part 2. I'll start dropping antifreeze and that kind of stuff on part 3 and begin to take out the injector lines. And so, like I say, these videos are going to be longer, and there's probably going to be at least anywhere from 8 to 12 parts. Who knows, maybe even more. I don't know. Just depends on what all I get into. But yeah, like I say, I figure, well, just keep on doing several parts of this. That way I just keep dropping episodes out along, and hopefully you learn a little bit of something anyway. So hey, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you back here for part 3.